Welcome back, Cookies, to the Star Citizen Hangar Tours series. Just wanted to talk about a very serious problem, and that is, you ever think, okay, I got a starship, but I need something bigger. Well, I got a starship so freaking big, they actually had to upgrade my hangar in order to fit it in. And it's the Starfarer Gemini. Now, this thing is absolutely enormous. It's big and it's ugly and it's green and it looks like a giant damn Ninja Turtle, which I absolutely love about it. So cool. This thing is enormous, but you know, when you really take a closer look at it, the level of detail that they went into is really something else. I mean, even on the landing skids, it's articulated and the model is well fleshed out, and the whole thing just came together so beautifully. This ship was the first one that I've seen that, you know, looking at the thing, you actually get that feeling like, yeah, we could actually live on this ship. It's pretty impressive. The scale of the thing is just huge. I actually think it's the largest flyable model in the game right now. You know, so let's get a little bit into the specifics of kind of what it is and what it does, and why I think it's going to be a good addition for us. It's a dedicated, you know, fueler slash tanker slash processing unit. So basically, you know, in the standard model, you're able to swoop down into the surface of a gas giant, scoop up a bunch of hydrogen, process it into fuel, and actually refuel other ships directly from this thing. You know, I think it's kind of nice because as some other videos have pointed out, you're going to have a bunch of cargo that you don't have to pay for, you just have to protect. And speaking of protection, this thing definitely has some firepower. I mean, it's certainly no dancer or ballerina, but even that turret up top, that's a size 5 turret with dual size 4s. Those are bearing laser cannons. And then these guys right here, these are size 4 combines. So you've got these on either side. You have these gigantic size 3 missiles on the front that make really cool noises and blow the crap out of whatever you hit. And you know, tons of armor, tons of shielding. It's certainly not fast, but it's faster than you might think it is, and also more agile. So, you know, the idea is that we can attach ourselves to an exploration fleet, a mining concern, you know, paramilitary operation, all kinds of stuff, and be able to supply, you know, pretty valuable fuel, services and processing, and hopefully turn a decent profit in doing so. Just an amazing piece of work. Even the turrets, this is the Gemini version, so the guns are actually upsized on this. The rear turrets are actually sporting Panther repeaters, so dual size 3 on both turrets, and you'll notice that the turrets actually do invert the gunner, which is cool. So you get that added field of vision and field of fire. So I think the ship should be able to protect itself fairly well. I do think that, you know, especially once we're fueled up and carrying a lot of precious fuel, that you know, we're going to need some fighter escort along with us to make sure that we can actually protect our investment. So check this out. I'm going to drop the ramp here. Look at these animations. So cool. And in case you're wondering, yes, I actually have driven the Grey Cat buggy up into here and done donuts in the cargo hold. The ship is large enough to do donuts in. Unreal. So this is the cargo bay, of course. You know, big enough for a game of basketball if you want. It can actually hold somewhere north of 900 cargo units just in its standard form, although I'm not really sure how much of the cargo room is going to be eaten up by personal cargo that the crew needs to bring aboard. And this thing can support a fairly large crew. So, you know, we'll get into the specifics of it here, but there's some cool ambiance. Looks like the inside of your local vape shop. But, you know, extremely cool. The lighting's all well done. Textures are great. It just has a really solid feeling. And you know, the very first time I saw the cargo hold on this, I thought, oh my god, it actually feels like a home. So let's take a look at the EVA room. Right off the bat, you've got a dedicated room that's fully airlocked for EVAing outside of the ship, as well as docking with other ships, I'd imagine. These are spots where your custom EVA suits or body armor can live, and you'll be able to exit right into the cargo hold, whether or not it's pressurized via airlock door. So pretty cool. If we go up the stairs, yep, the ship has stairs, guys. I was actually like, oh my god. You kind of get an idea of exactly what the scale of this thing really is. It is enormous. And I'm probably going to say that more often than I need to. The video should speak for itself, but walking around this thing, like, it's possible to get lost on this ship, and I'm not afraid to admit that I've done that more than once. So, here I imagine we'll have some readouts that will give us, cargo status, maybe a little bit of a fuel readout, hopefully. This is kind of the neck of the turtle. This is sort of where we're going up into the bridge area. So there's escape pods here, which is really cool. There's escape pods in other places in the ship as well, but I like the fact that they actually put some up here so that the bridge crew won't have to run through the entire ship just to get to the escape pods. So the bridge, very cool. Each of these chairs is of course usable. Each of the seats is actually functional. The displays work. Weepy and I have actually taken this thing out for several spins, and it's definitely a fun ship to fly. So anybody who's familiar with the Freelancer layout will be familiar with the 45-degree holographic displays that come up from each of these displays that allow you to manage ship systems and kind of see what you're doing. It's a really cool ship, even to co-pilot. And the captain's chair actually is pretty cool. When you sit in it, you get that Captain Kirk forward lean. Even though you can't really do anything from there, you can certainly issue orders. It's pretty sweet. So go back out to the cargo bay, and I'll show you sort of the business end of the ship, right? So you've got these airlock doors that lead out onto the gantries into the refueling area. So, out here, I believe these are the refining tanks, and then those are the refueling / holding tanks. You see the Musashi branding everywhere, which is really cool. And then on either side here, there's actually these elevators that you can call. I believe these are actually airlocked as well, that can get you into the maintenance area of the ship. So, pretty sweet. But can you imagine standing back here, piloting a refueling boom, while a starship closes in? That's just going to be quite a sight to see. I think it's, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So, let's head back inside, and I'll show you around the rest of the ship. I think, one of the coolest things about this particular model is the fact that, you've got living quarters on board, right? So, I guess I'm trying to avoid as many Serenity references as possible, but when you really start looking around this thing, there are so many opportunities for gameplay as well as role play that you can't help but make the comparisons, right? I mean, this is a ship that is meant to be kind of a home in the stars, more so even than the constellation that I showed you guys earlier. There's even markings on the ground that'll kind of tell you where you're going, right? Living quarters here, got cargo, got maintenance, and the systems being, fully fleshed out systems are going to need maintenance if they start taking damage in a fight. And I think there's probably going to be wear and tear on components, etc. So, you go up the ladder here. There's an elevator there as well, but the ladder's a lot faster. And you're faced with sort of the bare metal look of a lot of the other Musashi ships. When you come up into this place and into the central hall here, you'll see that there's a mess hall. There's skylights. There's a place where we can all chow together. There's a kitchen where I can definitely see Crimson spending some time. Trash compactor, ovens, probably space microwaves. These look like some, hot surfaces for grilling, and all we need is one of those really expensive espresso makers back here, and I think we'll be all set. So right off of here, there's the the captain's quarters, which is pretty cool. So the captain has his own quarters. No skylight, unfortunately, but I guess there's some ventilation processing here. You know, I'm hoping I can fit a liquor cabinet back there, and maybe a Herman Miller to plop down behind this here desk. Hopefully we'll also be able to run some systems from here as well, so at least basic communications, monitoring the ship, kind of seeing what's going on. Communication with the bridge I think would be especially nice. You know, a bit of a wine chiller area, maybe some liquor bottles. The captain does not have a bad life. I'm hoping a lot more of these panels are openable, and we're able to actually put personal items in there. So moving on, we've got the bunk area, which is pretty cool. UEE blanket there. And captain has his own personal head. So hot and cold running water, place for your towels, and you know, this is interesting. I think that's the first time I've personally seen this, but you know, a toilet slash shower. So I guess the toilet retracts into the floor, and you're able to take a shower here, which is pretty cool. I imagine staying out in space without a shower would lower morale just by the fact that everybody would smell pretty bad. You know, moving on through here, you'll see there's a maintenance access and a lift on this side, just as there's one on this side. And then we've got over here another ladder that'll get you into other areas of the ship. So there's Jeffries tubes, there's all kinds of, you know, compartments and systems and things that I think could supply some very interesting gameplay opportunities, which I'm pretty excited about. Now, speaking of crew, we actually have the crew section, so beds, so we can log out and not have to worry about finding a starport, which is pretty cool. You know, pretty decent sized crew here, and check this out: male and female bathrooms. Holy cow! Benches in case there's a wait, which is pretty cool. And lockers, you know, and I'm hoping these will actually be able to be opened as well. But you know, we can go in here, take a look. You know, guy's bathroom, same type of shower toilet combo, hot and cold running water. You know, some small compartments, and the women's bathroom, which is exactly the same. Which you know, guys, I don't know if you've ever been in a women's bathroom, but you know they're not exactly the same. Women's bathrooms are nice, like. You go into the guy's bathroom and it's all utilitarian and not very clean, and then you go into the women's bathroom and it's like got direct TV in there and friggin' vending machines. It's crazy. I'll get out of here before somebody calls HR on me. But anyway, one last look at the mess hall. I think this is really cool. It would be a really great little meeting area, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of what other gameplay opportunities this whole thing can provide. So moving on, let's go down the ladder. We'll take a look at the maintenance area. Cracks me up. And they have the same kind of non-stick floor, you know, non-slip floor that they have in the back of a kitchen. Very cool. So as we go through here, this is one of those Jeffries tubes that I was mentioning. So, you know, access panel for systems. Access panel again. You can actually go prone and get through here, which is pretty cool. Oops. Hang on, let me get out of here. Hopefully I don't clip through the ship. But yeah, so, you know, additional systems here, access ports, you know, panels and switches. Really, really cool. So we'll head down this ladder, and I have a feeling once we really get to know the ship, we'll actually be able to use those as shortcuts to just get around the ship a lot more quickly than we normally would. So pretty sweet. Anyway, you know, again, like I said, I've definitely gotten lost on this ship. I might actually be a little bit lost now, which I'm not embarrassed to admit. Okay, maybe a little. But, you know, this thing is, I think, just going to be a really, really cool addition to the fleet. And I think it'll also be really interesting to see just how much fuel can actually sell for. And then, you know, making that calculation between operating cost, fuel, profit, you know, time out on missions, etc. I think this is going to be a very, very fun ship to play. So here we have the gravity generator. And, you know, if we get boarded, this is going to have to be something that we need to protect, along with, you know, the main power core. Right? So, very, very cool. More escape pods here. More readouts. And then lift access back here. So let me see if I can find the door that'll get us back to the rear turrets, which are pretty interesting. So we go back here. This is actually airlocked, and then we've got one of the rear turrets. The visibility from these things is actually really good, and I wanted you guys to see how it actually inverted you, and you get that full, you know, overlapping field of fire with the other turret gunner. So dual size 3s, you know, it'll definitely make its presence known, or at least be able to hold its own as a deterrent until you know, until the fighters show up. Very cool. Yep, so we're actually running along the boom of one of the rear parts of the ship, so you can actually see the fuel holding canisters and processing tanks down there. And then as we move forward, let me get back to the living quarters, because one thing I did forget to show you is the top turret, right? So if we are getting attacked and everybody's in the mess hall, we're eating chow, this right here is access to the top turret, and this thing is serious business. I mean, dual size 4 bearing cannons on there is really no joke. And if, you know, I know the turret mechanics need to get ironed out a little bit, right? So you tend to fight a lot with whatever the pilot's doing. But you know, if you can draw a bead on a single seat fighter, there's a really good chance you could 2 or 3 shot him with a volley from these cannons. So very impressive firepower for the military version of this ship, and definitely looking forward to seeing what this looks like in space. Very cool. I'm actually hoping the the sound effects are coming through as well, because they're actually very well realized on this ship, and I really have no complaints. I just am very much impressed by the way this whole thing came together. So anyway, I think I've shown you most of the ship. You get an idea of what it's like. You've seen me get lost, and you know, we've probably talked about most of the things that need talking about on the ship. The animations are just awesome. And for the record, I have seen people actually fit a P-52 Merlin in here. And if you can fit one of them in there, you could probably fit 2 and maybe even 3. So, you know, maybe not a pocket carrier, but might be the closest thing that we have that's flyable right now. So I'm going to end this video by going up to the 3rd floor, so you can actually see, you know, the top view and exactly how ugly this ship is. But it's so ugly, it's cool. It's past that point of ugliness. It's like a bulldog. Holy cow. Just enormous. You know, and the fact that this thing will actually do, you know, 450 meters a second in cruise mode is pretty impressive. You know, definitely not fast. And I think it'll also be pretty telling, you know, once the tanks are full of fuel, to see exactly how that affects performance and the ship's agility. But if you've stayed till the end of the video, thank you. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and hopefully we'll be able to do some more ship tours here shortly. There's a few things on the shopping list that I'm holding out for a decent deal on, but just wanted you to get a look at the Starfarer and kind of the overall size and scope of the thing. It's a pretty impressive ship, and when you dock one of these at Port Olisar, it definitely draws a lot of attention. So pretty sweet. Anyway, on behalf of the Tactical Cookies Star Citizen community, wanted to say thank you, and hope to see you guys in game pretty soon. Have a good night.